Welcome to the Take Care Sis podcast with me, Ki, and KiKi.
Join two friends for a conversation around self-care in real life. We'll talk about anything on the spectrum from bubble baths to setting boundaries to managing friendships and more.
As your sisters, we also just want to provide a weekly check-in. You know, like big sis asking little sis, sis, you good? So come on in, sis. Let's talk about how we can take better care of ourselves.
Hey, Ki.
What's up, KiKi?
How are you, sis?
This weekend has gotten way busier than I needed it to be, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I've been the opposite, not busy. So I'm good.
Lucky you. Lucky you.
How was your accountability this week? Like what you do for self-care? Did you do it? Or did you not?
Yep.
You did?
I don't remember what we said, man. I don't remember.
See?
She said she'd be lying on Sundays.
See? Last week we went through this, right? She was like, I remember everything.
Except on Sunday. She said Sunday she gonna tell you the best when it's the start to the week. Then later on she was like, I don't know what I said.
Right. See? Somebody listened to the episode, dang it. Speaking of y'all, let's go ahead and introduce our guest. Because y'all hear a third voice. This is Dr. Ebony Blue.
Yay! Hello.
She is, wait, I had it written down and I lost it. She is Dr. Ebony Blue. Actually, what's your, just go ahead, introduce yourself, friend.
Okay. I am Dr. Ebony Blue, as so eloquently stated. I am a licensed, board certified counseling professional in the state of Texas, as well as an entrepreneurship and wellness coach. I have a master's degree in counseling, a master's degree in marriage and family therapy, and a doctorate of education in counseling. So not only can I teach other counselors how to be counselors, I know how the system works and how to educate us to be as effective in our community. And overall, I'm just your favorite ratchet hype man. So it is an absolute pleasure to be here with my sisters to talk about self-care and wellness. Thank you for having me.
And she's also a member of the greatest sorority
ever. Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, she's my sorority sister. So yeah, that's why she's on the podcast, y'all. So if you be like, why they pick her? Because
first and finest, always.
First and finest. All right, so back to what I was saying. Yeah, I don't remember what I said for accountability last week, but I did some things for self-care. I actually started the whole moving process, y'all. So I'm in my summer home. And that sounds way greater than it is. But I'm in my summer home. And Friday night, wait, why are you laughing? Friday night was really cool. I took my younger brother, it was his birthday. So I took him to see Tony Baker. And that was hilarious.
I knew it would be.
KiKi, what did you do?
I mean, my week wasn't as extravagant as yours. My self-care was, like I said, was to make sure that other people are okay. And I mean, that's an ongoing process. And that's just because of a few personal events in my life. And that's what I did. Simple.
What about you, Dr. B? What did you do?
I practice self-care every day. So I'm a big believer that we have a holy trinity. So mind, body, spirit. So on a daily basis, I'm eating, staying hydrated, I'm moving my body, I'm meditating, I'm praying, and I do arts and crafts. I love to make things to channel my creative energy for self-care. So I definitely practice that all throughout the week, and caring for others, because, you put love out, it doesn't come back void.
I love that.
Right. Y'all see why she's my favorite? She's just my favorite. All right. So new section, y'all. It is for the culture, where we are going to talk to y'all about what's trending and what got us in a chokehold or whatever for this week. I'll start. First and foremost, Hoochie Daddy shorts. I'm here for them. I'm here for the Hoochie Daddy shorts. What about y'all?
The season.
Yes.
The season.
Yes. KiKi is throwing it up. She is excited about the Hoochie Daddy shorts as well.
Yeah.
And I'm digging the muscular thigh meat. Like when the thigh meat is muscular, I dig it. I don't really need the tattoos like some women like, but I like the muscular thigh meat. And bonus points if you're bow-legged. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Bonus points if you're bow-legged. Yes. And that's really all I want to do for self-care this week is to be with somebody's daddy with some Hoochie Daddy shorts on.
Okay.
Oh, so like somebody's daddy and not somebody's son. So switch that over.
I'm 40. They probably have kids, so they probably are somebody's daddy.
I love it.
But yeah, there's somebody's son too. But yeah, that's it. So Hoochie Daddy shorts. And then y'all know that in addition to Dr. B, Kier Gaines, our social media therapist, he always says something that has me just like floating through the week. And he posted a reel the other day that was talking about 3 things about outmaneuvering the BS of being a human. And that involves self-awareness, freedom, and personal identity. And I'm gonna just encourage you guys to go back and look at it. I'm not gonna give it all away because I want to boost homies views. So yeah, go check out his page first of all. Shout out to 1911. But yeah, he always gives me some affirmation or something that I'd be like, yes. And I was here for what he said this week about the 3 things about being human. KiKi.
So for me, because we know all of this stuff has happened this week, I'm going to say all this shit has happened this week. And with all of these shootings, what I could not believe, or one thing that I could not believe was, I saw that people were asking Quinta Brunson, who is the creator of Abbott Elementary, which is elementary school comedy, like a mockumentary type style comedy.
Mockumentary, I like that.
Yeah. So they were asking her to do a school shooting episode, which I did not see why she would have to do that because it's dumb. Like it's a comedy. Why does she, of all people, why does this Black woman of all people have to go and do a school shooting episode? I know that they think that it's for awareness. Like the kids they already have enough training on what they need to do during a school shooting. It's sad that we have to do that, but a lot of schools are already preparing their children for it. Why do we need this on TV?
That's tacky.
I didn't see the point of it. And I mean, if somebody has a different point of view and wants to change my mind, you can. But I just thought it was very annoying to me. Very out of pocket, very tacky, like you said.
Tacky. Dr. B, you got anything?
I'm in the same mindset. I'm just watching people process trauma, and I do it on a regular. It might seem kind of strange, but I do not pay attention to current events. I'm a big advocate for filtering. So I tend to stay present with what's going on in my current environment, or I'm forward facing, but I do have to be aware, right? I work with people and they're my newscast. So as a boy mom of 2 who are elementary school age, I am advocating for homeschool, baby. I've been on the team, and moments like that just feel like, of course, sincere sympathy and compassion to those families. But it just reminds me that doing things that are spirit-led, even when you're questioned, in moments like this, I'm like, this is why my babies are here with me. And that's why I saturate myself with things that can help me be a provider in that way for them, to make sure their environment is secure. So that is, kind of my stance on those type of current events. Other than that, I'm just listening to Kendrick, dissecting his music, and very, very excited that he is promoting mental wellness and just that dichotomy we have as Black people being for the culture, like our current event topics, but also how to elevate the culture. So that's what I've been on, just listening on repeat.
Yeah, that whole, do we call them albums anymore? I don't know. But
I
that
call it an
whole,
album.
okay, it's still album. Okay. So
Yeah.
that whole album, it can be a little heavy. But I do encourage everybody to listen with your open ears, not your closed ones, your open ears. Listen with your open ears, and then be willing to go talk to somebody, because it might get you to thinking. So
It's so interesting, the perception that he's gotten for this album, though. Like, it's half and half. Like, I feel like my generation and up, like all of us, understand what he was trying to do, and then the younger generation is like, this is boring, this is stupid.
because
Yeah.
I
Very
don't think they're
interesting.
Kendrick fans though either, because he's
Yeah.
a smart rapper, a backpack rapper. So he's always going
Yeah.
to be conscious and aware. So that's what we're accustomed to. We expected nothing less.
Right. Well, there's that. But y'all, I mean, because she said it. Yeah, they like talking about, I don't even know what the children be talking about, but like outfits and rims on tires and stuff like that. Like, it's just, I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah, whatever. All right, so y'all, before we really get started, we're gonna take a moment of silence to honor the victims of both the Uvalde, I think I'm saying that right, but the Uvalde, Texas incident, the Buffalo incident, and any other incident of violence that you have witnessed or heard about, whatever, this past week. We're gonna uplift it and just make space. Ashe. All right, here we go. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and KiKi and I are wellness practitioners, right? We can teach you about self-care, we can teach you about mindfulness, yoga, stuff like that. But we have been talking to y'all, and we kind of bring y'all, we try to bring out the science as much as possible, because that's who I am as a person. I am a science nerd. So we try to bring out as much science as possible, but we decided this time to just go on and bring a professional. So here we got Dr. Blue. Dr. Blue. So first of all, we got some questions for you, Miss Ma'am.
Yes.
How did you become a therapist? Like, what made you go in that route?
Oh, wow. This is always a loaded question for me, but I'm very, very transparent. The journey was not easy. I can say that, and it didn't exist. I'm an elder millennial as well. So therapy wasn't something that was normalized, at least in my community. I came from poverty. So living in an environment where scarcity is the mindset really does impact what mental health looks like and feels like. So I started the journey through trauma. I grew up in a household with domestic violence and substance abuse. I had a veteran for a parent. My father was a Vietnam vet. So definitely some mental illness and things going on. So my interaction with therapy came through CPS, intervention. Therapy is needed for health reasons, or actually right before going away to college, we went through a domestic violence experience and stayed in a women's shelter. And so with scarcity in housing, the mandatory requirement to stay there was to go to therapy. So I had this Caucasian woman, all the therapists were always Caucasian, tell me, hey, this is not normal. This is not how people live. You and your mother do not have to live that way. So that was my aha moment, not only to experience change, but to become the change that I wanted to see. So wanting to be a representative of the culture, wanting people to know that therapists aren't like this. Well, we are super goddesses and gods, but we're out here humans being and learning and growing and deciding to be practitioners of wellness as far as emotional health. So outside of the traditional going through, getting a doctorate, sitting for a licensing exam, and doing lots and lots of education and research, really life taught me, the School of Life taught me how to be Dr. Blue.
That's so dope. And you answered my next question about the aha moment. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So Dr. B, what do you do for self-care?
Everything. So of course, that's how I found my lovely soror sister, through yoga, meditation, prayer, sun exposure, eating properly, working out, having a millionaire mastermind group of like-minded people I bounce ideas off of, being intentional about my environment, all the things, anything I could think of for that mind, body, spirit care is there. But more than anything, it's meditation and being in conscious awareness of my thoughts is what I do for self-care. I start my day with me, I end my day with me and only me, so that I can be in receptive mode for downloads or guidance, or just knowing when something is wrong. If you don't listen to yourself and you're always distracted, how can you care for yourself? So that's my at least consistent practice, is always doing meditation.
And did you say you're a boy mom of 2?
Yes, I have a 4, almost 5-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Oh,
Are you okay, sis?
No, I am not. He's almost as tall as me and I'm 5'8". I'm not feeling this. There's no growth hormone yet. Like, what's happening?
I think that that's amazing that you managed to fit all of that in and you're still a boy mom. And did I understand this correctly? You do homeschool?
Yes, I do homeschool full time.
Girl. So listen, all you moms, I'm not a mom shaming and I'm not mom shaming now, but listen, y'all can fit into self-care too. That's all I'm saying.
It's mandatory. You can't be a good mom without it. There's no mom shame, but you cannot be a good mother to your children if you're not good to yourself. How do you know how?
Okay. You actually answered my next question, which was, if you could tell our female listeners anything about self-care, what would you say? I feel like that one was a good one, but if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, self-care is not an indulgence. It's not selfish. It's nothing to feel guilty about. I've heard you guys mention it over and over. It's more than manis and petties, right? So when you think of self-care, really think of care of the self. What do you need? What do you want? How are you feeling? And then what are the actions behind those emotions? That is the act of self-care. So we care for children, we can nurture our booze, we can be there for work. We're caring in those positions. So this is the same position you hold for yourself. That's what I would tell our female listeners, to make it mandatory. It's a requirement for wellness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please, and thank you.
I'm just trying to eat her up through Zoom. Just go ahead. Go ahead, KiKi.
So let's talk about mental health policy, right? So the Biden administration wants mental health care to be covered as physical health care. This will make therapy more accessible for Americans, especially African Americans. How do you feel about this as a clinician, as well as an entrepreneur?
So when I saw this question, I did think about it for a while. And I'll tell you my knee-jerk reaction, although some won't agree with me, but that's okay. This is more profound than reparations. I feel like if you give a community back their mental health, you give them back more than 40 acres and a mule or any type of financial gain, because we are a community of conscious people, of creators, of thinkers and doers. And so if we can be well and have support dealing with systemic trauma and racism and PTSD of just being Black, right? If we can just heal those self-imposed limitations at this point, accessibility can really make a difference. As an entrepreneur, I'm always about the bag. So abundance me, please, in any way. But more than anything, just knowing that it's a community that would be served with accessibility, or any changes with how we're defunding the police and putting the funds in appropriate places. If mental health is in, I'm definitely down. And although it is not physical, we are emotional beings within this physical being. And if people are not emotionally well, they will feel it in their body. So I am of the mindset, even though I don't necessarily abide fully by a medical model, that it goes hand in hand. So one should beget the other, and people should be able to have access to it without red tape or boundaries. It needs to be something that free flows for everyone.
I love that. I'm a contractor with the state, and I accidentally sat in on a workshop they did right after like the shooting, and it was about trauma, right? And it just frustrates me to no end that there's so much research regarding trauma and how that trauma stays in your body and blah, blah, blah. And so this particular practitioner was saying how, you know, we've been dealing with the trauma of COVID for the last 2 years, but then on top of that, there's things that compound it. And so now we have the school shooting, and they were talking about the different effects and how it affects you mentally and physically and all this other stuff. But rewind back to the defund the police, and I'll tell you the full question in a minute, y'all listening. How is it that y'all can be so kind and y'all have this science, but you're kind and generous and willing to let people go that look one way and then not the other? Yep. But yes, that was very poignant and profound what you said about like that's bigger than reparations, because that was deep. That was deep. I like it.
Yeah, I love the question. Thank you guys for that.
So what we were talking about with defund the police means to reallocate millions of dollars police departments are awarded in their budget every year. Like police departments are awarded mucho bucks every year, but they still keep getting it wrong, right? And I think that most sane people can say the police departments aren't doing everything they can or most things they can the right way, right? And so defund the police as a movement was never about like not giving police departments any money and taking police off the streets. It was just about reallocating resources. So with that said, how do you feel like as a therapist, how do you feel about that?
Well, you know, the active therapy is one thing, but we are a business. So the initial concern for me is just making sure that Black clinicians are actually given access to the funds, right? So they're going to be willing to get in the trenches. They're going to be willing to see people. We're going to, you know, I think being a martyr is dead for us as providers, but there are still some younger ones that are out there just throwing themselves into the flame. So my hope would be that accessibility wouldn't just only be for the community that we serve, but also the clinicians who are part of that community. And that there's a motivation there for more people to get the education or the requirements to be licensed and to provide wellness or to go to trainings and be in position, right? Because you get ahead of the curve when you're aware that there's something coming down the pipeline that can better serve you. So I think it's a good space for us to manifest progress. For us to be on point in our business practices and know how to provide service to that clientele, and then making sure that the clientele through marketing of platforms like this in general, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, that we're just out there, out of the chair, not only in the office, but advocating for a collective consciousness.
She's so dope, y'all. I am like absorbed. Also multitasking, KiKi. You see that? You see how I'm absorbed in what she's doing and I'm folding my laundry?
That's because you ain't talking.
I love it. Get it done.
That's the next question, KiKi.
So we're going to get into the questions from the audience. We posted on Instagram to see if we can get some questions from people who are listening to us.
We posted everywhere, y'all.
Yeah, we posted
y'all
everywhere.
Get questions in. Shame on you.
So we had multiple questions that dealt with trauma, and that's exactly what we've been talking about for the past couple of minutes. So how can we effectively process what's been happening to people of color regarding Buffalo, school shootings, police brutality, and other things?
Mm-hmm. So first, I just feel like to disclaim this is for informational purposes and does not take the place of therapy with a qualified, board-certified mental health professional, wellness practitioner, someone who has done an energy exchange to be a provider of wellness. Let's put that out there. We want to
put the disclaimer.
Yes, ma'am. Let's put that out there because people will listen to this. and
Process
start
with him.
diagnosing folks, and I'll be like, wait, no, that's not how we roll. But initially with trauma, I think the biggest thing is to understand you never know what you don't know, and to be open and receptive to support and help. So a lot of times, and I may skip around a little bit because I know you guys ask like when is the right time to come to therapy, but it's relevant in this moment when we talk about trauma. All trauma responses aren't negative. Okay, so hypervigilance is a trauma response. So people can become very controlling. They can be very independent. They can learn not to ask for help. They can do it all themselves. Typically Black women, one of my target audiences, women of color, find themselves being very successful and have had some of the most traumatic experiences that you wonder, like, sis, how are you still standing here today in all of your glory and goddess greatness? So the first, I think, step for dealing with trauma is just being open to the fact that everybody can use support, love, and help. And that if you're not feeling like yourself, and you're going to know self better than anybody, including a board certified professional, you're going to know when you start to not feel pleasure and joy in things that typically made you feel good. When you're sleeping too much or you're not sleeping enough, because there are different types of rest. So if you're laying down for 7 to 8 hours and you're still waking up exhausted, it's maybe time to tap in and figure out if that's a trauma response. If you're very, very stressed at all things, so irritable, short-tempered, impatient, and you're usually a kind, loving person, but everything feels like the straw that breaks the camel's back for you. The best way to phrase it, when life be lifing, that's the time to go and see why life got these hands. And if you need support and trauma work in order to process and release whatever you're holding within yourself, that you're going to see manifested in your lifestyle, in your body, in your finances, in your boo thing, the universe is going to slap you in the face until you pay attention. So that would be my first and foremost, how to deal with trauma, is to be an observer, no longer an absorber of the trauma, be it a school shooting or a bad relationship. Don't carry it with you. Learn how to let it go and leave it all on the dance floor, as I like to say when clients have session.
Life do be lifing.
Girl.
Yeah, you do gotta leave it on the dance floor. And I guess that's where people like you therapist people, that's where y'all come in to help us leave it on the dance floor.
Mm-hmm. Unpack it.
Huh?
I said unpack it. That's what we do. We unpack it.
Unpack it. That's cool. So that gets into our next question. When do we know it's time to go to therapy? So outside of what you just said, do you have anything else to add? Like,
yes, ma'am. Girl, I'm here. Everything, life, anytime you are alive and you are a human being, go to therapy. It's for if you want to have a baby, if you don't want to have a baby, if you want to get married, if you've gotten out of a relationship, if you start a degree, if you transplant to a new place and you don't know anybody, if you want to tap in and make sure that you're just well for the year, so it can be a biannual thing like you do a physical. It's different for everybody because it's an adaptable process. So typically people think of like their physical body. I'm okay, but my job makes me go get a physical. That's your job giving you justification to be accountable to your physical body. And they want you to be physically okay because they want what you produce. So think about living your life as the job of self. You want to tap in and make sure you're emotionally well. So literally therapy, there is always a good reason. Buying a new home, stressful. Being an entrepreneur, oh my God, so many reasons to be in therapy. Yes, anytime. And it's a safe place where you allow the therapist to hold space for you in your process. So it's the one like selfish thing that you can do for your self-care. If there were a selfish type of self-care, that therapy would be it. You run the show. To me, it's like a version of YouTube. You're going to customize your algorithm with your therapist.
See, this is one of the questions that was actually asked by someone on our Instagram. They were like, when or do you just go because of trauma? But You just confirm that basically any kind of transition in your life or anything that you want to deal with, you can go see a therapist for it.
Yeah, well, you want to elevate or you're dealing with something, it's for everything. It's like when to go get a massage. We go when our back hurts or we go to feel good. Therapy, same thing. Everything that we can translate for our physical body can be communicated in an emotional language if we allow ourselves to provide an awareness for it.
That was so good.
So much preaching in just a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
That was so good. I want to write it down.
You can't
Well,
because
you
you
gonna have
folded clothes.
I know, see? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your commentary and your presence, because she need to hear that.
You know what? This is being recorded. I'm gonna write it down later. Since y'all know everything.
Are you? Are you though? Mm-hmm.
I'll send you some notes. I got you.
Thank you.
Don't send her no notes. Nope. Let her do
Listen,
it.
I got real friends in this world, KiKi. Real friends.
Okay, I ain't no real friend just because I be calling you out. Okay, that's fine.
You sometimes a real friend.
Yeah, you too. Mm-hmm.
Got one more time to call me a dinosaur, but
I didn't call you no dinosaur. You got called that by listening to that doggone Breakfast Club thing. That's your fault.
Oh,
You walked into
Lord.
that, friend. I ain't never call you that.
you
Anyway.
right. Ask the next question, friend.
So the next question is, why does therapy not seem to help sometimes? I feel like this is going to be heavy.
It can be, and I'm doing my best to destigmatize some things, but I'm always very candid and straightforward. So therapy sometimes doesn't seem to help because the person going to therapy is not ready. So that's just one thing. My favorite quote is lie to me, but don't lie to yourself. And there are so many people who will not get the fullness of therapy because they will come and not feel comfortable for whatever reason, being vulnerable, being open and transparent. So it is your most authentic experience wherever you're at in your life's journey. So if you are not ready to be all out with a stranger, right, then put at least the goal in mind of building a rapport until you feel confident and comfortable. There's also the idea or the concept that maybe it's not a good fit. And you would want your therapist to know and understand that if it's not working with them, that it's not about them, it's about you, and to refer you so that you can get the services and support you need. Outside of that, it may be some subconscious self-sabotage going on, and that's why I said I'm not going to make it too heavy because I don't want to take somebody too deep. I never want to blame anyone or shame anyone, but you are a conscious being and you are responsible for your thoughts. No one else is responsible for what you think or how you feel. So if you feel like something's not working, you're not going to keep replicating that process. You're going to shake it up and you're going to try something different until it works because you were designed to win. So if it's not working, it's not you that's broke. Let's try a different process and be outcome driven with whatever it is that you're seeking and know that it will work. It just hasn't been in this time or this season for you, but it's going to happen. That would be, my best concise answer for that without knowing the person specifically.
That was, go ahead. No, I was going to say that was exactly the response that I was expecting, because a lot of people go into it and they don't really put their all into getting what they need out of therapy. And sometimes you kind of sit back and don't want to offend people when they tell you about something that they talked about in therapy. But I mean, it just sounds like sometimes they just don't go in with the mindset of, I'm trying to deal with this, or I'm trying to learn from this. I'm just doing it as something to check off my list.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's some cultural things involved as well. This isn't, at least it's more normal now. It's like Black Lives Matter, right? We've always mattered. Now it's a movement and everyone's aware. Mental health is not new. It's been around since the 1800s. We've known, the white people have known. Okay, so for us, it's very weird to pay someone or to use our benefits to go sit down and talk to somebody, right? I'm gonna just talk to you. No, sis, we're not gonna just talk. We're gonna plan, we're gonna goal set, there's accountability measures, there's treatments, there's just a multitude of things that we do. We're gonna incorporate yoga, we're gonna talk about medication and meditation, both in the M's. So there's a lot that goes into therapy, likened it to getting a personal trainer, right? So we can tell if you haven't been doing your work, your heavy lifting out of the gym, right? Or being consistent with your nutritional health, just like we can tell when you come to session. If you haven't been working your process, we immediately know. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to lie about. That's what we get trained on. But it's not a trick. Like, we're not analyzing you, we're not judging you. We can tell. Like, if you come for stress management, can we not understand and know when you're stressed, right? Like, you're gonna wear it on you, telling your body. If someone is a Reiki practitioner, they're gonna feel the energy through the door. So if it's not comfortable or we're avoiding it, then that's something to address in therapy. Like, these are some of my reservations, or these are my discomforts, and to remember therapy is like the most delicious meal. Okay, when you're looking at your menu, I want you to order what you want to consume, right? And you're never going to eat cold food. You're not going to eat it unseasoned, so you're going to find somebody to know how to use the seasoning you like, and you're going to have conversations that allow you to really get the fullness of the experience without questioning yourself, because that's the one thing you're not coming from, is to doubt what you need. It's to really fulfill that need, right? So I think that that's the cultural kind of hiccup. I've also heard some people feel like therapy is a sin, and that your faith is weak if you go to therapy, and that you're not relying on God if you're not doing it yourself and you went to this person to tell you what to do. A good therapist should never tell you what to do, right? They're to guide you and make suggestions and support you in your own autonomous, which means independent, thought process. So we hold hands, right? We hold space. We'll give comfort and empathy and unconditional personal regard. So that's non-judgment, right? We're going to love you no matter what and who you are and how you show up. And so if you're still feeling away, let's deal with that as a thing versus making it the institution or the process of therapy.
The collection plate. I'll just start it. The collection plate.
When you were talking about, we know when you haven't been doing your homework, what came to mind for me, probably shouldn't have, but I love to watch My 600-Pound Life. And Dr. Now, he gets them folks together.
All the way.
He was like, I know you ain't even following this diet. I know.
Right.
And
I know he's fired. I'm just saying. He got fired.
What? I am so sad. That really makes me mad.
Right. He won't be coming back to 600-Pound Life.
Oh, that's it. I'm not watching it anymore. Sorry.
It's Dr. Now is the truth.
I just had to throw that out there. That reminded me of that so much, because he look at them one time and like, I know you ain't been following this diet.
Yeah, immediately somebody's not respecting themselves, not using their boundaries in toxic environments, whatever brought them, they will come back with the same issue if change hasn't really happened. And it's not us, right? It's you. You got to live the life so we can tell immediately.
We're going to church on this Sunday, y'all.
Okay, service.
Right. Okay. So one of our viewers, Michaela Marie, she asked, how do you handle or cope with change in family dynamic, job, location, etc.? So what can you talk about from a therapist perspective and how to cope or handle a change?
So I don't know Michaela personally, but blessings to you, Michaela, for whatever changes your life has brought to you. I can say that being free, okay, truly only holding on or receiving what is for you and not focusing on the lack of presence in your current situation is going to allow you to accept change. So once again, I'm always emphasizing we are a self. Like when you look in the mirror, you see a soul in your eyes. And if you don't practice that every morning, every night, look into your eyes, see your soul in that body. The voice that you hear when no one's talking, when you're thinking those thoughts, that's what I mean by the self. So the self is a conscious part of us, right? Constantly thinking, processing, absorbing, or observing. And so with change, you may be thinking of something, you may have a desire and a want, but you don't know what it takes to get you there, right? Because you're just in your consciousness, thinking your thoughts, being aware of whatever you choose to be aware of. And, you know, that's something we got to get into one-on-one. But whatever those thoughts are, when the change is happening, uncertainty is a good thing. So I want to encourage you to embrace the change, because the change is indicative of the change in your thoughts. The change is going to show you the new job, the new environment, the change in the family, the change in emotion, whatever that is. It's coming from somewhere. And my hope is that it's going to be from a conscious awareness of changes that are leading you to the space that you want to be in. So initially I said, don't get, discord or disconcerted when it's a lack of something, like the change, you're missing exactly what you want. Know that the lack of the presence of what you want in your life due to change means that it's in creation, right? It's being designed for you. It's coming to take up that space with the change. So it's going to be staying grounded and present and aware, always aware, knowing that when you level up, it's unfamiliar, right? Because how do you know how to do something you ain't never did before? It requires a change, right? It requires expansion. And sometimes when we expand real fast, we get stretch marks, okay? It's all right. Cocoa butter is therapy, okay? So as you're changing, I would say utilize an accountability support system to help when you feel the disconcerted emotions, or if you feel overwhelmed or you're experiencing stress. It means that you're holding on to something that the change is supposed to purge from you so that you can make room for the presence of what you truly desire and have been thinking about and doing, which is why the change is even happening in the first place. And I hope that made sense.
Yes, it made sense. Yes, it made sense.
It's so many gems, like so many.
We're gonna have to pick Key up off the floor after this.
Right.
And I can't help you, sis, so I'm gonna need you to get yourself together.
We remote. We can't pick you up in spirit.
In spirit.
They're my real friends, y'all. This is what I deal with. So we're going to give Dr. B a little bit of a break. And so, KiKi, you know what you do best, friend. You know what you do best.
All right, y'all. So we have come to the portion of the program, like we're on TV or something.
I know, right? Roll credits.
So you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Take Care Sis Pod. Share this podcast, y'all, because that's how we grow our community. As you see, this is how we got Dr. B on, like sharing and talking to other people. That's how we get these people here. So if y'all want somebody to be on this podcast, share it with them and then tell them, slide into our DMs, because that's how we're going to get them up here.
Okay.
But share this podcast everywhere in your text conversations, your group texts, social medias, everywhere, y'all. Also, you can find me, KiKi, on Instagram and everywhere else as This Curvy Yogi. That is curvy with an I, not a Y. You do the Y, you're going to find somebody else that ain't me. Key, where can they find you?
You can find me in the club. No, I'm just kidding. You can find me on Instagram, yoga _with _key. That's IG. You can find me on my website where I have all my offerings to include meditation, good people. You can find me on my website at yoga with key, no spaces, .space. So yoga with key, .space. Yeah, so what we finna do this week for accountability? You know what? Dr. B that made me feel bad and how she does self-care all day, every day, twice a day, 17 times a day. So I don't really have nothing else. I don't even want to say what I'm gonna do this week because
No, you don't say it.
Yes, ma'am. Every day you are going to wake up and set an intention for your day, whatever that intention is. And then at the end of your day, you're going to celebrate how intentional you were for yourself all week long. It's whatever you want to do all week, every day, but at least once a day, intentions.
I like that because I will say, like I told y'all prior to my birthday, I'm really bad about celebrating me and my wins because I'd be like, oh, that's just my job, or oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I like that. I am going to set my intention daily. Did I tell y'all I'm fasting? Jesus, I'm doing intermittent fasting.
Girl, you're not being intentional?
Yes. And so that's why like I'm all on what you said, because you really have to be intentional. Because that last hour of fasting, I call on everybody.
Yes, call on that self.
I call on them all that last hour. So, but yeah, so you have to be intentional. And then, yes, I am going to celebrate. So that's what I'm finna do. KiKi?
This week, trying to think what I'm going to do. I do plan on going with a friend. I think it's this weekend. Got to check my schedule. We are going to try a rage room. That's going to be interesting.
Ooh.
So
we have those here.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm going to be.
Now, are you going to curate content when you're doing this?
She better.
What?
She better.
The pressure.
No, never pressure. It's always with ease. We just want to see what you do, how you do when you do it. There's no pressure there.
Look do you see how sweet she sounded when she did that?
That was good. I got to learn that one because it just rolled off the tongue.
Because it's facts. It's straight facts.
Sounded like butter. I will probably create some kind of content. Usually I opt for YouTube because that's my field of study, I guess.
I love it over there.
So that might be where I do it, and then I might do a short reel or something for the IGs.
Yeah, so. I love that. I'll be looking. See, you want followers. Okay. How can the money find you if you hadn't?
You're right. You are so right.
That got me all up in the chest area.
You done fell out 3-4 times.
Because I don't know what.
I have fallen out a lot during this episode. I have.
She has. She really has.
I love it.
You need to tell that to Key some more so she can get this TikTok going. And she had her YouTube. I don't know what the hell happened to that.
I'm with you, sis. It's our time. We can't be selfish with the gift no more. We got to get out here and show the people. Get the people going.
Right.
See, my problem is just consistency. You need to start, ma'am. You over there. See, I am so glad I got a witness. I have a witness. This is what happens every episode.
That is a whole nother podcast for y'all. I've been on everybody's neck about YouTube. Please don't get me started. Y'all, come on. This passive income that you sitting over there looking all melanated and beautiful and hiding. You up here parting your hair. That hour and a half while you wasn't making content. Talking about, I like my part straight. It's a Black girl somewhere that's like, oh, how do I part? And you left her in the wind. You already ready. We want to see
so I
you.
See that just flipped back on me. That just
both backfired. Of y'all, everybody, you are the content. You don't have to do nothing extra.
That
just show up.
That was real simple and real. All right, I gotta go get my life together.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay, y'all, we gotta go. KiKi, I love you, girl.
You're not gonna tell me to take care?
All right, take care. I knew I was missing something.
Key, I love you too, even though you treat me so bad. But I want you to take care this week, and I want you to follow through on your word. Dr. B, I want you to also take care. Even though you do every day, I just want to remind you, keep you on your game, because we're looking at you for this as well.
Yes, ma'am. Will do, with pleasure.
Dr. Blue, stay beautiful, stay awesome, and just know that you are loved and appreciated. Like, we really love and appreciate you. So thank you.
This was such a vibe. I just want to say it was such a vibe.
It was.
I love it. Thank you so much, ladies. Namaste.
Bye. Namaste. Bye, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.